Davy. Awesome. Welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. So this week was NXT Vengeance Day, live from Washington, D.C. Let's get into it. The opening match for the Women's North American Championship, Stephanie Vaquer versus Fallon Henley. It was a great match. I mean, Vaquer is awesome. Of course, Fatal Influence did get involved, but Vaquer was able to fight them off and ended up getting to the top rope and hitting Fallon Henley with a twisting corkscrew splash, getting the pin, the win, and became the new NXT Women's North American Champion, which is really awesome. And I will say it was time for Fallon Henley to drop it, because as much as I was hoping she could make that title interesting, she really didn't. We kind of kept forgetting about it. Hopefully Vaquer can have a better run with it. This match, though, itself, it was awesome. It was fast-paced. I would give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the NXT Tag Team Championships, Josh Briggs and Yoshiki Inamura versus Fraxium. Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I mean, it was a really good match. It was fast-paced, but I didn't really see Briggs and Inamura taking the titles off of them. Mostly because I didn't feel like it was built up enough. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was kind of cool how Briggs and Inamura, the bigger guys, kept using Frazier and Axiom as weapons against each other, constantly launching one into the other. But it ended up going the way we kind of figured it would, with Nathan Frazier and Axiom still picking up the win and retaining the NXT Tag Team Championships, which I was really hoping it was going to be Briggs and Inamura, because honestly, I'm so sick and tired of these two as tag team champions. It hasn't been that interesting. They're constantly teasing a breakup. I just wish they would pull that trigger already and give us some new tag team champions, because honestly, I'm just bored with this. But after the match, out came a group attacking both teams. Occasionally, the commentators said one of their names or something, but I can't remember them, because I'm guessing these are guys that are just fresh from the PC. In fact, even the crowd was chanting, "Who are you?" Either way, this match, where it was really good because of the results, I would only give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then a strap match between Eddie Thorpe and Trick Williams. This match was great. I mean, of course, it's a strap match, which means brutal. Wasn't the kind of strap match that I like, you know, the traditional one where you have to touch the four corners. It's basically just they're connected by a strap, but still brutal and fun. And it came down to Trick Williams getting the trick knee onto Eddie Thorpe, but him falling out of the ring. And even though he was trying to pull him up by that strap, by the time he got back in there, Thorpe was able to use the strap to basically to hit Trick Williams in the
Captain Winky!
And then get a running knee of his own, get the pin and the win. I was very happy about this match, because one, I didn't expect it to go this way. I honestly thought Trick Williams was going to win. I'm very happy that it was Eddie Thorpe. Number one with Trick Williams, I feel like he's getting stale on NXT. I think he needs to go up to the main roster and maybe thrive, but I'll get more into that later, but I doubt it. And also, just Eddie Thorpe, I think it's time that they give him a real serious push, and I'm glad they're doing that. Not to mention, I'm a little partial because I remember watching him as Carl Fredericks on the Independents out here in Reno, where he's from. So, either way, this match was awesome. A 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then a grudge match of Ethan Page versus Javon Evans. Obviously, because Ethan Page broke Javon Evans' jaw, smashing his face in between a chair. I mean, it was good and intense. Javon Evans obviously trying to get revenge, trying to break Ethan Page's jaw, but it came down to Page getting what the commentators were calling the smile stealer onto Javon Evans, getting the pin and the win, which honestly is the way I think it should go. It was a good match. Again, good back and forth, nothing wrong with it. But ultimately, there wasn't a lot of storytelling in it, other than, of course, Javon Evans being angry. But the match itself just didn't have enough drama for me. But it was still really good. So I'll give it 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the NXT Championship, a triple threat. Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller versus Obafemi. It was good, it was just predictable. Like Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, the team of A-Town Down Under. Number one, they've been teasing their breakup for so long that honestly, I had forgotten they were even still a team until they came to NXT, figuring they must have already broken up. And it just went exactly how we thought it would go. Throughout the match, Theory and Waller kept helping each other and backstabbing each other, even to the end of the match when Grayson Waller came in attempting to do a Rolling Thunder to Obafemi, but missed and caught Austin Theory, and Obafemi was able to get Grayson Waller into what they're calling the Fall from Grace, Obafemi's pop-up powerbomb, getting the pin over Waller and the win. Again, exactly how I thought it was going to go. I did not think that Obafemi was going to lose the title to either one of these two. But then after the match, again, out came that group that, as of filming, we don't know who they are, beating up Obafemi. So, ultimately, it was a good match. Like I said, it was just the predictability of it made it to where I really couldn't give it more than a 3 out of 5. Yeah! And the main event for the NXT Women's Championship, a fatal 4-way. Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade versus Bayley versus Champion Julia. It was a good match. Great chaos. But the kind of chaos I talk about all the time I like. The one where I can still follow it, it's just chaotic. And of course, like we expected there was backstabbing between Perez and Cora Jade. But ultimately, after Cora Jade got the double arm DDT onto Roxanne Perez, Julia hit her with a knee, and then got the Northern Lights bomb onto Perez, got the pin, and retained her NXT Women's Championship. And as a nice little touch, out came her friend Stephanie Becker to come and celebrate with her as they're both now champions. But then as another nice little touch, at the end of that, out came NXT's newest signee, Jordynne Grace, who is officially NXT now, staring both of them down. So which one of their titles is she going to go after? We don't know. But ultimately, it was a good match, great way to end the night. Wasn't fantastic. I would easily, though, give it a 4 out of 5. Yeah! So NXT Vengeance Day 2025 overall, it was good. It wasn't great. I mean, it was kind of even as far as ratings. There were 6 matches, 3 of them were 3s, 3 of them were 4s. But ultimately, it just wasn't as exciting as I was hoping it was going to be. Stephanie Becker winning the Women's North American Championship, obviously that was great. Not just because it's Stephanie Becker and she's awesome, but like I said, Fallon Henley, as much as I was hoping that was going to boost the title and make it more interesting, it wasn't. Kind of was that title reign where you kept forgetting who the champion was. The Javon Evans Ethan Page match, it was kind of a letdown. Like, it was good, but again, there was just no real story being told in the ring itself. The story was just the stuff building up to the match. It wasn't very dramatic. It was just one guy who's freaking out and the inexperienced guy beating him. The tag team match was a letdown. Again, I didn't think they were going to lose the tag team titles just because it wasn't properly built up. But ultimately, I'm just really so tired of them being tag team champions. It has gotten really stale. It's gotten really boring. It was picking up at one point when it looked like they were going to break up. Now it's looking like they're not, so it's just back to being kind of boring. The strap match was awesome, and I was happy with the result of it just because I really do want them to build up Heavy Thorpe. And again, Trick Williams, I think he's kind of peaked in NXT. I think it's time to let him go to the main roster and see what he can do. But I'm not going to lie, I don't personally see Trick Williams being huge on the main roster. I don't see him being a big fixture there. I could be wrong. You never know. But as far as I can see it, Trick Williams, this is probably going to be the peak of his career, is being a 2-time NXT champion. But even then, it's getting kind of stale. I just don't know if I really want to see much more of him in NXT. So again, just putting him on the main roster and going, let's see what you can do. Maybe there's a chance he can make it. I like Trick Williams. I just don't see him being like a top guy someday. The men's championship match, again, it was predictable. It's very rare that they have somebody from the main roster come down and win the title. But especially two guys that they just really were doing nothing with on the main roster, to the point that a lot of us had forgotten they were even still a team. And this match was more serving to put the tension between the two of them breaking up than it was building up Obafemi. Obafemi, in my opinion, is a great champion. It seems like they're kind of turning him babyface. I don't know if I agree with that. I really feel he more suits being that big monster heel, but who knows, maybe he'll thrive as a babyface. But either way, this just kind of felt like it was giving the two of them something to do since we don't have nothing for them on the main roster, while at the same time feeding him some opponents. This whole thing with this faction coming out and beating everybody up, maybe it'll work, but ultimately it kind of just works better when it's people we know who are getting together and we're going like, whoa, great. now they're going to do something. Like I said, they mentioned a couple of their names, and I've already forgotten them. And I don't care enough to look them up. The crowd was even chanting, "Who are you?" The women's match was great, but ultimately kind of pointless. It was a good title defense, but Roxanne Perez, I think we all know she's about to go to the main roster. Because again, just what else is she going to do in NXT? I don't think anybody really felt like Cora Jade was going to win the championship. And Bayley, honestly, throwing her in the mix was cool, but I don't think anybody believed that she was going to walk away as the NXT Women's Champion either. It was more just a way to build up Julia, which was cool. She does deserve to be built up. And promote the new signee of Jordynne Grace. I think it's good for them to start her on NXT. And we'll see where that goes. Again, staring down both champions, giving us that thought of like, okay, which one is she going after? It's intriguing. But ultimately, as far as the overall event, where there was some good matches, there were no fantastic, great matches. There was no bad matches either. So really, all I would rank it is probably just a 3 out of 5. Yeah! So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications for when I post the videos. And leave a comment so I can respond to in my next comment corner. Tell me what you thought of NXT Vengeance Day. Love you guys.